Speaking of bringing it,
Let's get off the subject.
Jesus comes in and says, hopefully that Legwold report is true and it ends up being Hackett or any of the remaining offensive-minded coaches. Now, Zach, for those of us that haven't read the Legwold report, can you let us know exactly what Christian is talking about here? And Christian, appreciate your support.
We should probably pull up the article that Chad wrote because it's doing really well right now on MHH Analytics. Basically, it was a radio interview, and he is the ESPN Broncos reporter, Jeff Legwold, veteran of the game. So what he says is worth paying attention to. And he was asked about the reports that the Broncos are zeroing in or targeting heavily Dan Quinn. And they've had no other discussions. That's their guy. And he pushed back against that. He said, not at all. I don't get that vibe. I don't get that feeling. He intimated, in other words, that it's still an open competition. Even Steven, to quote Vic Fangio, and they don't have any predestined choice in mind like Dan Quinn. Of course, it's one person's opinion, but as plugged in as Legwold is, it's worth bearing in mind. I do like how he called him, or he at least furthered the notion that Dan Quinn could be Vic Fangio light. There are some similarities. I don't think completely they are alike in their personalities, as we laid out on yesterday's pod. They're nothing alike, but some of the national media, it's not just us or the fan base, there are some drawing comparisons to Vic and Quinn as to why the Broncos might want to go with an offensive mind.
Yeah, and it was right here. It's like Dan Quinn right now is the toughest one to explain to the new people. It's almost Vic Fangio light. And you see the pushback that people are getting, and we know that we've got our finger on Broncos Country probably better than Legwold does, but he understands that right now people want something totally different. They want a complete 180. Now I've gone. Excuse me. I've said, the personalities are a complete 180. Pete Carroll and Vic Fangio are nothing alike, except they both coach defense. And he's much closer to Pete Carroll with his energy and his youthful enthusiasm. Pete Carroll from 30 years ago than Vic Fangio. But you say defense, people don't want to hear it right now. I'm tired of defense, and I understand. I get that. I get that 100%. And that probably is going to be the toughest sell, but if it ends up being Dan Quinn, there are a lot of things to like there for sure.
Yeah, and if they do hire him, we'll have a whole podcast, if not multiple podcasts, breaking down what he brings to the table, which is a lot, and I think it would be an upgrade on Vic Fangio. But there was another comment that Legwold made that he said it's the toughest to sell to the fan base, and I think that's such a great point to keep in mind. You're talking about selling tickets. You're talking about filling Empower Field next year. A new owner, a new coaching staff, new quarterback more than likely. You want the energy on the sidelines. You want the draw among the coaching staff. I don't think Dan Quinn is that draw. I think someone like Hackett, Kellen Moore, Eric Bieniemy, Brian Callahan, any of these guys would be a bigger draw to the fan base, and someone like Legwold at least understands that.